Hello, kids. Welcome in. One and all, it's 12:04. May I be the first to say a pleasant good afternoon. Hope you're doing well. My name is Matt Murphy, and this is the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We've got 3 full hours to get to the business of the news of the day and hopefully get some of your opinions on said same. It's episode 549 of our proceedings. We keep count. Noon to 3 normally. Yesterday was episode 548, and I was not here. I was on from 3 until 7 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Subbing in for Brian Wilson. You might have heard me from time to time. I was doing live drop-ins from the roof in the midst of the very disappointing solar eclipse. At least it was for me. It was a lot of cloud cover, and it's a lot of, build-up and 20 seconds of excitement. You can insert your own 13-year-old joke here. We've lots to do today. We've got Bel K behind the glass, making sure that everything that comes out of our speakers sounds as good as humanly possible. Appreciate him. Mac Morey will be along moments from now to deliver some headlines after his lunch. He'll be about a little bit later on this afternoon, and we look forward to that as well. You on the telephones, as always. You on the Members Nutrition Super Text line, as always, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. We give those numbers often and as quickly as possible just to keep you on your toes. Allow me, if you will, to get things lumbering under our own weight, delivering the pleasantries to you, and then we'll get to the content of the show. As I mentioned, it's Tuesday. It's April 9th. If I seem distracted this week, I find this to be outside of my birthday week. Wait, no, I'll take it back. It's better than my birthday week. This is the best week of the year, truly. Outside of those special occasions that I associate with my loved ones, birthdays and whatnot, it's Masters Week, a tradition unlike any other. So if you're watching on Super Talk TV, you'll notice I've adorned some Masters garb on this Tuesday, and I appreciate you watching. I feel when I mention the Masters that I should get in my Master's voice. I should perhaps talk a little bit lower. He's got about a 3-foot break on this putt. He's going to just barely wrap this down the hill. This for triple bogey. And he missed it. Anyway, so I might be a little bit distracted this week, I must admit. Although we've got much to discuss. Obviously, the national issue of Donald Trump's weekend pronouncement, his stand. I don't believe that this is a change for Donald Trump, and I don't think anyone that believes that this is a change for Donald Trump has been necessarily paying any attention to what's going on. I think Donald Trump is reasserting that he's not changed his position on the issue of Roe v. Wade, Dobbs v. Jackson, what was accomplished during his administration, and what he hopes to accomplish moving forward on the issue of abortion. So we'll delve into that. I did a lot of that yesterday afternoon, and frankly, it was an incredible conversation yesterday afternoon. It was in the 6 o'clock hour of the drive. If you want to go back and listen to it, I encourage you to do so. It was a great back and forth between the listening audience and yours truly, the host, subbing in for Brian Wilson on the drive. I will just synopsize it to say this. I have been arguing that this is a state's issue from a constitutional perspective since as long as I have been doing political talk radio, and that's about almost a quarter century, 24 years now. I'm not going to change that argument because we won something. Secondarily, I believe that you eliminate abortion across the United States of America by changing hearts and minds. I'm going to get into a little more of that coming up in just a moment. I don't want to get too deep into it. Otherwise, I put on my rant pants and off I go, and 20 minutes later, I'm lost in the wilderness. So
put on the pants.
No.
Put on the pants.
I'm going to finish the pleasantries, and then I'm putting on the pants. Pleasantries, then pants, Bell. We are found on a variety of platforms, including the radio, 99.7 FM. We are also found on a variety of streaming platforms. Really, anywhere you stream music or news or information or podcast, you can stream us by typing in Supertalk 99.7 WTN and following instructions. You can download our app. I encourage you to do that. That's a much better way to listen to the radio station, in my opinion. Find that at your app store, Supertalk 99.7 WTN. And then, of course, you can watch, for you masochists in the audience, watch us live and in person on Supertalk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Supertalk TV, always up and running. Bel K chooses not to participate in Supertalk TV. I ask him to do so on a daily basis, and every day he declines. saying that the warrants are still pending. That said, he does participate in this way. He offers us our title every day. And today's episode 549 is entitled
Matt Murphy Show. He's got a lot of problems with you people, and now you're going to hear about them.
That's true, man. That's true. I hesitate going where I want to go to start the show because it is the libertarian lunch. Folks are out and about. They're just trying to grab a bite to eat before they have to get back at it. For some of you, this is the only hour that you get to hear during the day. And I so do appreciate you spending some time with us. I so do appreciate you utilizing your downtime to gather information or to hear opinions or whatever. And so I don't want the entirety of the show to be taken over by this. But it's on my heart. Oh, yeah, a lot of, I just got scrolled. A lot of reaction to the Masters. 1510 says, I took off the work this weekend so I can watch the Masters. Normally, you know what I'm off on Friday, but I'm out of town. Normally on any given year, I will take Thursday and Friday off. I grew up just outside of Augusta in a small town called Thompson. When I was growing up, we were poor folk, and so that was rich people's business. But, you kind of looked at it from that side of the fence, right? My grandfather worked a lot in Augusta as a mechanic. We drove by Augusta National on the regular, and I never would have known that there was a golf course there had my grandfather not let me know and made it plain that that was rich people's business, Later on in life, you get to go a little bit. I had a good friend whose family had badges, and we went for a number of years. I was there in 1997 when Tiger Woods won his first Masters. I was there in 99. I was there in 01. I was there in 03. I was on the off years. Anyway, I don't get off on that. It's fun if you like golf, like sport, like majesty and mystique. All good. 4209, yes. I mean, life is like a box of chocolates. Pick which one you like. Ray says, I'd rather watch paint dry. Good for you, Ray. I can bring some paint over. As a matter of fact, why don't you bring some paint over to my house, and you can paint a room, and then we could watch it dry together. I'll bring the liquor. I would rather watch the eclipse, says 4209. Well, I don't know about all that. Here's what's on my heart. I look at the way that I view the world personally and the way that I believe the government should interact with its citizenry differently. And I hope that makes sense to you. The manner in which I'm going to comport myself individually and spiritually, personally, is not dictated in any fashion by the rule of law or the rule of man through government. I recognize that government is designed to protect the individual liberty for you and me and everyone else in the United States of America, and I wish it were the world, to act according to our own conscience and our own belief system, to succeed or to fail through our own hard work, background, intelligence, education, whatnot, without interference from government unless and until we are violating the rights of other people. It is the last part of what I just said that makes the issue of abortion so tricky. When are people people? And when are we violating their rights? Donald Trump stepped out over the weekend in an attempt to clarify his position on the concept of a federal abortion ban. And he did not change his position. Donald Trump has never stated that he was in favor of a federal abortion ban. During Donald Trump's administration, Donald Trump, by nominating conservative justices to the United States Supreme Court was directly responsible. He is well within his right to take full credit for accomplishing the overturning of Roe v. Wade, which, regardless of how you feel about abortion, was an awful decision. It created law in actual time. I'm on a roll. What do you got? Anything over there?
You sound like a Democrat, refusing to give Harry Reid any credit.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. Or Mitch McConnell. There's another.
It was Harry that blew up the.
Well, it was him. The Harry that blew up the nuclear option, which we told you guys, if you blow up the nuclear option and you eliminate the need for a 60-vote threshold with Supreme Court nominees, you're going to get this, and that's what you got.
So Harry literally laid the groundwork for him to be able to get those justices.
Yeah,
in.
I mean, technically so. I suppose you could say so, yes. So Donald Trump steps out and says, I appreciate where we've come. This is where I am at individually on it. This is where I believe the country is on it. And this is what I think the Constitution has to say about it. I have my own personal feelings about abortion. I'm certain that you have your own personal feelings about abortion. And you've expressed those to me. You've expressed those to Han. You've expressed those to Mandis. You've expressed those publicly. And I have every respect in the world for them. That said, I'm not going to read it. I received multiple emails regarding our conversation last night telling me that I need to get off the radio, that I'm no real conservative. I've never claimed to be a conservative in my life, but I get that a lot, and that's fine. I'm a libertarian. There's a difference. But here's what's on my heart. I hear a lot of people clapping back at Donald Trump. I hear a lot of people clapping and reminding the rest of us how pure they are on this issue. I hear a lot of people telling me that this is the way that it is, and it is to be no other way. That life begins at conception and anything else is murder, and anybody else that has any other opinion on the matter is wrong, dead wrong. And they're not supporting Donald Trump anymore, and they're not supporting, and they're not doing this, and they're not listening to this, and they're not doing all that. I'm gonna start taking you people seriously when the adoption centers are empty, okay? Where are you folks when it comes to babies that are right now alive and desperately in need of a family? Okay? I don't pretend that I've done a 10th or 100th or 1,000th of what I should be doing. And every day, I'm going to work harder to try to make this planet a better place for the good people in it, especially the innocent among us. But I'm not about to be lectured by people while there are adoption centers that are full on the issue of abortion. And that's my thought. That is what is weighing on my heart. That if we are so convicted, as I have heard since Trump came out and made what is a reasonable and constitutional statement on the issue, that it is a state issue, and that we should embrace those states that make decisions regarding life, and we should encourage those states that make decisions that don't have a lot to do with life, that sadly allow for partial birth abortions. Yes, I want to change those hearts. Yes, I want to change those minds. But all of you, I'm done with Trump. I'm done with Trump. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? This elephant has existed in the United States of America for a long time. This elephant is going to get away if you folks have your way. Because everyone doesn't agree with you from a religious perspective. Others that are voting age don't necessarily share your belief structure. The reality is that if you take such a hardline stand on this issue, you're going to lose every bit of the gains that we've had. And I don't know how to express it to you any more clearly. That if Joe Biden continues to serve as acting president of the United States of America, and the Democrats get a House of Representatives majority and they get a Senate majority, I guarantee you, as I sit here today, they will cram through the codification of Roe v. Wade, and they will demand abortion in every state in this union. Every single thing that you want to accomplish does not necessarily have to come from a place of force. How about a place of love? How about we start with that little 2-year-old that needs somebody to adopt that little baby? How about we look into the foster care system and see how we can make that better? And yeah, how about simultaneously we work together to shower these blue states with love and compassion? How about we explain through our words how many more options there are than abortion? How about we talk about some of the modern medical science that exists that makes abortion antiquated in its approach to prevention of pregnancy? How about that? And before we insist, and I am not in favor of abortion, not any way, shape, or form, but it is heavy on my heart that many of you that are 100% purity conservatives when it comes to this issue aren't functionally aware of what will happen if you could snap your fingers and have your way. Where are all those babies going to go when we cannot possibly find homes for the ones that we already have? Why do we not put our money where our mouth is first and show through the demonstrable strength of God's love what could be right now in the state of Tennessee? Our foster system is overrun. Why? And that's tough love. And I love each and every one of you. And it's on my heart to say it. It's 12:23 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy, and I want to tell you about a brand new, well, I say a brand new. This is an old soul that's been on the radio for a long time with me, but he's got a brand new name for his organization, and I'm proud to announce HeartlandJournal.com. It is my good friend Steve Abramowitz. You've heard me talking about Steve and his Mill Creek View, Tennessee podcast. He has now renamed the podcast Heartland Journal. He's renamed the website Heartland Journal. You can find it at HeartlandJournal.com. You can find multiple news items, journal entries, and, of course, the ever-popular podcast. The podcast is very popular in this part of the world, and you can find them on just about anywhere that you stream your podcast, Spotify, and, of course, you can watch them them on Rumble as well. You can watch yours truly. I'm good old episode 190, Murphy's Law by Heartland Journal, presented by Mill Creek View, Tennessee. The podcast is up and available. Plus, they have many different political figures, artists, educators, cultural touchstones. Just about anything you can imagine is available for you at Heartland Journal. It's now called Heartland Journal, and you find it at heartlandjournal.com. That's heartlandjournal.com. I encourage you to encourage Steve to continue his great work in Middle Tennessee through Heartland Journal and heartlandjournal.com. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Craft Body Scan. I encourage you to spell craft with a C. Otherwise, you're going to get a completely different website. I don't even know if that website exists, but I know this. Craft Body Scan is here for you. They're available, and for the month of April, they have extended their incredible $149 special, and I'm here to tell you all about it. So this is a $1,300 plus value for each individual that comes into their facility to get a heart and lung scan through Craft Body Scan. It is CT scan technology that gets inside of your body. It's non-invasive. Nobody pokes you with needles. Nobody pokes you with anything, as a matter of fact. You don't even have to take off your clothes. You go into the body scan, and they scan your heart. They scan your lungs. I happen to do the full body scan, and I would frankly encourage you to do that. But let's go ahead and get you in on the heart and lung scan so you can experience the process for yourself. You'll go through a private health consultation when your appointment is ready. You'll get scanned on site. The actual scan only takes about 5 to 8 minutes. The images are then reviewed by board-certified radiologists, and the results are reviewed by their team of providers, and then they're provided to you. So here's the thing. You don't have to be referred by anyone. All you have to do is call and make the appointment. Do this today and bring a loved one for $149. You and a loved one can get scanned through Craft Body Scan. CraftBodyScan.com. Spell craft with a C, or call today, 615-436-1000, 436-1000. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy and you. A lot of you responding to my opening rant. I told you there'd be some rant pants on. A lot of you responding to my opening rant, and I want to hear from each of you. So we'll get to your calls here presently. 615-737-9986. Mike is in Atlanta. Brent's in Nashville. Tim's in Nashville. You on the phones. You on the Members Nutrition Super Text line. 615-737-9986. Real quick, before I forget about it, I want to mention this. I had the opportunity. I held off on talking about this yesterday because I was in Brian's slot on the drive. And I wanted to make sure that those of you who have heard during our time together between noon and 3, Abby Elks on the show, I wanted to give you an update on what happened over the weekend. Belle K wanted this update.
I totally forgot to ask you about that because I saw the pictures you posted on your socials.
So good. So congratulations to Abby. Let me tell you, in all sincerity, she had an event. We had Abby on last fall. I didn't know if she could do it. I didn't know if she could make it happen. But she wanted to create an adoption event at her school, Davidson Academy. And she called it Passion for the Paws, and we had her on again to promote the event. So many of you stopped by. So many of you came out. They had food trucks. They had there was a bus out there, man. This is so cool. What do they call it? Hold on. I got to pull up the photo. I don't want to screw this up. They had a bus out. It was called the Magic Dog Bus, where they pulled it's like a minibus, what we used to call a minibus, and they pulled all the seats out and put in carpeting, and they've got dividers, so dogs get on the bus to drive to daycare. You've seen videos of this online. I know you have. We have one of those in Nashville, where the dogs come in, they strap them in, they sit there, and so they ride the bus to school every day, or wherever they go.
Now we have busing for dogs.
We do. we do. But that was just one component. There were many different adoption centers. Proverbs 12:10. There were so many dogs. 30 dogs got adopted Saturday.
Oh, I was going to ask you. That's a huge number.
30 dogs were adopted. Abby was desperate to make it 31, but I escaped. We escaped.
Whoa.
With no dogs.
Whoa.
Well, we can't have a dog yet. Not a third.
Okay, so you've just sat here and talked about how much people should have come out and adopted dogs, blah,
Yes,
blah, blah.
that's correct.
It's like with giving blood, dude. You'll give 4 or 5 pints, but when they're really in a pinch, you just disappear.
I am, the timing's just a little bit off, but I promise you, there was a dog out there that Proverbs had named Sawyer. Sawyer, Stetson, and Stella were 3 siblings, two boys and a girl.
Are they puppies or full grown?
Yes, they were 4 months old, and oh my goodness, I had to walk away. Several times.
Proverbs is where I got my 2 cats.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Great organization. No kill, and they don't have actual buildings. They don't have like office complexes, so all of their funding, anything they get, goes to actually supporting the dogs and the cats, the pets.
Well, we might hear from Abby a little bit later on today because I want to congratulate her in person, but I mean this sincerely. I am naturally a pessimist. I am predisposed to believing that we are doomed. And then when young people like Abby Elks walk through my door and her good parents, Jim and Jennifer, she's 17 years old, and to put her heart and soul behind a project like this and to see it come off with such success, it truly does give me hope in the future of the United States of America. We don't hear enough about those types of youngsters. We hear way too much about the other type of youngsters. And so congratulations to her, Davidson Academy, to Jim and Jennifer. All dogs that were lost were found, by the way, Bill. We had a little dog issue.
What did you do?
I didn't do anything.
Don't lie.
I looked for a dog. That was it. But the dog was found.
Can you imagine once she gets her feet under her and, 3-4 years down the road, if she can make this a going concern, 30 dogs the first year? I mean, she could be doing some major work in this field.
It was really, really good stuff, man. Really good stuff. So congratulations to Abby. Congratulations to Davidson for allowing her to do something like this. Good on you. And we need to support more stuff like this. Okay, we're getting to your calls momentarily. As soon as we get back from this brief timeout, your thoughts on my rant on the issue of adoption versus abortion. I think the two can walk hand in hand. I'm not trying to lash you with a noodle here. I'm just trying to suggest a different way of thinking about this, and it was on my heart to say it. It's 12:32 on Super Talk. I spoke about Dr. Stephen Paas and the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center for, I guess the better part of a year before Dr. Paas and I talked. One day, I think we were at his clinic, or we might have been at an event, and he said, well, do you have a sleep apnea, Matt? And I said, nah, I don't. Have you ever had a sleep test? And so eventually I got a sleep test because I was telling him about some of the energy issues I was having. Well, it turns out I don't snore that much at night, but I do have sleep apnea. I'm one of the minority of people that don't really snore that much, but I still have sleep apnea. And those folks exist. And did you know that 25% of adults who have sleep apnea are unaware of it? I was one of them. Well, now I've gotten my sleep test done, and I've been to Dr. Passa's. He has fitted me with an oral appliance. I would call it somewhere in the neighborhood of a retainer or maybe a mouth guard like you see athletes wearing. It is an alternative to people who cannot wear a CPAP machine who have mild to moderate sleep apnea. And let me tell you this. All I can tell you is, I got accustomed to the appliance being in a night or two. It's non-invasive, it's non-intrusive, and it works. I feel better in the morning. I feel more energy in the morning than I have. And here's the great thing about this. It is in network with all major insurance companies like BCBS, Aetna, Cigna, United Healthcare, TRICARE for the military. And they have 2 offices to serve you, Brentwood and Murfreesboro. Dr. Pass and the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center do this for you. Do this for your family member who perhaps might be snoring at night. Make the call. Make the appointment. drpass.com, drposs.com. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy and you, Libertarian Lunchtime Hour in progress. It is 12:38. Glad to have you with us. Thank you so much. Whatever time you're able to give us, we're certainly appreciative. Real quick, before I get to your calls and some of your Members Nutrition super text on this issue that I have broached regarding adoption and foster care and the children that have been born and those that we want to be born from those pregnant mothers that perhaps are considering abortions. Before we get back into that, in the 1 o'clock hour, I'm going to take a step back from my role in leading the discussion, and I'm going to act as more of a moderator when it comes to education in the state of Tennessee and education scholarships in the state of Tennessee. In the 1 o'clock hour, I'm dedicating the hour to you. I want to hear from individuals that have an interest in this subject. I don't know if you know this or not, and I'll set it back up in the 1 o'clock hour, but we're coming down to it. The state of Tennessee is set to decide whether or not we have this scholarship fund, whether or not it is funded by $140 million, $7,000 per pupil, 20,000 pupils, giving publicly educated kids a better opportunity to go to private education if that's the route they choose, giving parents more tools in the toolbox. Many people disagree with this approach. Many people agree with the approach. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to fuss or fight with you. I'm not going to say a word to you. I just want to hear your opinion. I'll give each person, roughly 30 seconds to offer an opinion if you need that long, a little bit longer if you need it. I'm just curious to find out where the people of the state of Tennessee are. Don't call now. We're going to do this in the 1 o'clock hour. And if I sniff a stiff, I'm killing the call. What do I mean by that? Anytime I've done this in the past, typically we get seminar callers or we get people with vested interests in it. I'm not interested in all of that. I'm not interested in the interested parties. I just want average Tennessee folks. So if I sniff a stiff, I'll bounce the call. But other than that, I'll give you carte blanche. That's coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. Right now, Mike, it's your turn out of Atlanta. Thank you for your call, Mike. I'm glad that you made it.
Hey, I'm one of your truck drivers that listens to you on the app all over the country. Thank you for all you do. I was listening to Focus on the Family a couple of months back, and they were interviewing a gentleman who grew up in Africa, and he started an adoption program. But he made a point on the thing with all the numbers of churches that are across the country and the number of children that are in foster care and that are orphaned. If every church would adopt one child, it would eliminate the foster care system. And it's not just one family in that church. You get one church, somebody, okay, hey, you don't have kids and you have you have the ability to take care of them. But the church gathers around that family and helps them with the additional cost and, date nights and whatever to make it easier on them to be a foster parent. And that would solve this problem.
Well, I mean, certainly it would go. I mean, I don't know if it would, quote unquote, solve it. But I mean, obviously what you're saying is right. I mean, that's a matter of doing what our faith commands of us, right?
Yeah, I mean, take care of orphans and widows, right?
Right.
It's fairly simple math, but I mean, yes, there are going to be additional children born later, but we gotta find a solution.
I just looked up, Mike, I just looked this up. I don't mean to interrupt your train of thought there. I just looked this up, and it is the stats that I looked up, and understand I haven't done a lot of research on this. It's only been 30 seconds or whatnot. You know how many churches there are by estimate in the United States of America? Do you know, Mike?
No, I don't.
380,000. You know how many foster kids there are estimated to be in the United States of America?
How many?
400,000. You're right. You're basically right. That's incredible. Never thought about it that way.
So I've been listening. My brother forced me when I was young to listen to Rush Limbaugh because we worked in a shop together. And I've been listening to talk radio for over 30 years. I'm 52 years old. And I know that talk radio audiences are the most generous and giving people in the United States. And if we could come together, if we could talk to the people in our churches, in our communities, just gather around these places where these foster care, look into it. Just log on, look at your local foster care system and maybe go interview with them, talk to them about, hey, even if you're just a volunteer to take a kid for a few months or something until an adopted home is out there, because there's a lot of predators. There's a lot of I've got friends that do work with human trafficking. There's a lot of predators that are out there volunteering to take these kids in as foster kids, and sometimes they disappear. We have stories every few months in Georgia about a kid that was killed in foster care, either by the boyfriend or by the family that that adopted them or that took them in. So we need good people to step up to the plate.
Well, I just find it fascinating, the number, and thank you, Mike, for the call. And I'm not casting aspersions at anybody. I love every single one of you. I truly do. I get very emotional and I get very passionate when I get emotional about issues like this. And my passion sometimes comes out to a certain degree as anger, and I don't mean that to be the case. I truly don't. I am fascinated by the number of people that I have heard from over the last 48 hours that have told me that they are refusing to vote for Donald Trump because he says that abortion is a state issue. And to those people who are, in my opinion, cutting off their nose to spite their face and acting in an extra-constitutional fashion, because I do think it's extra-constitutional. I've been arguing that. I'm not gonna argue it because the shoe's on the other foot. I'm not gonna argue it in any other way. If Roe v. Wade was wrong, and I understand that it was done through the courts, I don't believe that this is a federal issue as it stands per the Constitution of the United States. I think it's a state issue. So a lot of these medical issues that we've made federal issues are really state issues, but be that as it may, what's fascinating to me is the number of people that seem so passionate and emphatic about that issue. And I'm just wondering, what are we doing about adoption? What are we doing about foster care? Why is it that we don't? I mean, I don't mean to cast with a broad brush. I know that so many of you do care, but what are we doing about it? Why aren't we doing more about it? Brent's in Nashville. Brent, thank you for your call. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. You are very, very great on details of things, so I'll ask you a question. I have two very imperfect children versus your perfect children. So I listen to you a lot.
They are perfect. They are perfect. They came home with A's, Brent. I mean, I couldn't believe it.
But from other people, because I've never gone through this process, but from people I know, adoption is very difficult. And kind of as Mike said earlier, I get the impression that sometimes foster care is kind of like a cottage industry, like more of a business than taking care of children. So I don't know, maybe we need to do something about how to allow people to adopt easier.
It's a good and fair point. My good friend Cameron Smith, who comes in weekly on Wednesdays at 2:00, would be a better person to ask this question because he is a foster family. I think he's on his third foster child, certainly second. But he's currently fostering a 14-year-old boy, I think 12, 13, 14, something like that. And he would be able to, and he's done it in the past, just walk through the entirety of the foster process. I think it would also be important, without me shooting off the hip, because I think that would be unfair, to have somebody involved in adoptions in the state of Tennessee on the show to diagnose to us exactly what that process looks like. I've long shied away from it because I, like you, Brent, feel like it's far too much of an intrusive and laborious process and time-consuming and money-consuming process to adopt children. And maybe that's on me for a misrepresentation of what the process is like, or maybe it's on them to clean it up. But I think we can begin that conversation, and we can really embrace that conversation right here.
Matt, I listen to you every day. Thank you very much.
Hey, I'm glad you called. I'm glad you brought it up. I think it's an important point that you make. Foster care is one of the more important aspects of what our state does. It is a basic charter of the state to take care of those who cannot take care of themselves. One more quick one. Benji is next in the borough. Hey, Benji, how are you?
I'm good, man. The reason I'm calling, I'm 53 years old. I was adopted when I was 2 days old. And I decided, I guess at the age of 28 years old, to adopt 2 children.
So wait, you just when you were 28, you adopted 2 kids?
I was 28 years old.
Wow. Were you married?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How did that go?
We've got one child that which is from my wife, and we just decided after that to adopt 2 more children. And it has been an absolute blessing.
I bet it has. I can't imagine. And Benji, you don't sound like the type of guy that sits around and does this, but how wonderful for you that you had I hope that you consider your adoption to be a blessing, and how wonderful it is that you were blessed with adoption and that you are passing that blessing on to others. That's incredible.
Yeah, I was told that I was adopting, and my parents waited till I was, I guess, about 7, 8 years old, till I could understand what adoption was. And I was always proud of it. So I really don't get the thing out here with these women doing to abort kids and not wanting to have kids. But let me tell you something. It is wonderful. It is absolutely wonderful to know that there's people out there like me and others that would step up and do something like this. So I encourage anyone that, thinking about abortion, don't do it.
Benji, how old are your kids?
Let's see. 27. That one is 27, 21, and 16.
And did you say 2 of them were adopted or all of them?
2 of them.
2 of them. Wow.
A 16-year-old boy is he's our natural. He's
biological child.
He's biological blood, yes. But my kids, they love us to
death. Good for you, man. That's so wonderful. I love it. I love everything about it. Benji, thank you for calling. It's a blessing that you did, and it's a blessing what you're doing. And you keep up the good work and call us back, friend. 1252 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, big event coming up. You hear me talking about the Glock store from time to time. Well, I'm here to tell you need to mark it down on your calendars as on June 1st, Saturday from 10 a.m. until 2, we got the Glock store 4th annual open house. I will be there. Chris Hand will be there. Dan Mandis will be there, and you should be there. Where else can you go where they say that they're going to give away over $10,000 worth of incredible prizes like red dot optics from Vortex, tritium-powered night sights from True Glow, weapon lights with lasers from Nightstick, and on 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 it goes. Now, I cannot win these things. I have been told with firm authority that I am not eligible to win, but you are, and all you have to do is stop by the Glock store on June 1st. Now, it'll be here before you know it. I know it's just April, and we've got a full month of May to get through, but I just want you to mark the calendars down. And better yet, just go ahead and go by the Glock store. Go to shoot270.com and see the incredible deals that they have on their shooting rooms. They have a trainer available for you as well. Whatever your level of expertise, friends, it's time to get with the Glock store. Glockstore.com for all of your merchandise needs, and for your training needs, let's go to shoot270.com. Off of Elm Hill Pike on Air Lane Drive. It is the Glock store, and I encourage you to stop by and tell them Matt Murphy sent you. Indeed, finishing up the Libertarian Lunch on Supertalk 99.7 WTN. I'm your lovable small L Libertarian, Matt Murphy. Glad to be with you. 2 more hours to go after this. More of your telephone calls. We'll focus our efforts on education scholarships in the 1 o'clock hour. Right now, we've got Abby Elks on the line. Abby was the architect of the Passion for the Paws event this weekend at Davidson Academy. And I'm so glad you called me, Abby. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Why are you not in class?
Well, we actually had a half day today because my school has a day of community service where we go out and we just help the community or help our school in any way. So I was part of a group that hosted a Special Olympics at Davidson Academy, and we got done, and so me and some of my friends went out to go eat.
Oh, excellent. What'd you have?
Blue Coast burritos in Hendersonville.
Well, listen, I just wanted a chance to publicly thank you for everything you did for all of those puppies on Saturday. I think you said you adopted 30. We had 30 adoptions Saturday?
25 in total.
Okay. All right. Well, that's great.
But it was still great, yes.
And any dogs that were lost were found. That's a good thing, too.
Yes, the German Shepherd was found and was adopted right as it came back, which was a blessing.
We had an escapee briefly during the adoption fair, it was such a wonderful event. You did such a great job hosting. I want to congratulate you, and I'm not here to embarrass you, Abby, when I tell you this, but I wish there were more 17-year-olds like you. You did such a great job.
Thank you. It was fun. Thank you for supporting me with it and doing everything you could to help, and everybody on WTN and just everybody that came out to support. It was great, and I wouldn't have been able to make it a success without everybody that helped me, but thank you.
Well, you're very welcome. I look forward to the next event. I'm certain that you'll be coordinating something very, very soon, and it was wonderful. Here's my way of embarrassing you. Here's Uncle Matt embarrassing Abby. It was wonderful to meet your boyfriend. What was his name again?
Oh, my gosh. His name was Caden.
It was great to meet him, too.
Yes, he's fantastic. He's my biggest supporter. One of them, most definitely.
Tell him I gave him a shout-out, okay?
Okay, I will.
All right. Take care, Abby.
Thank you.
All
Bye.
right, thank you. Bye-bye. There's Abby Elks. What a good young lady. I met her boyfriend. He did not seem impressed.
With you?
No.
Oh, of course not.
Oh, no. I wouldn't have been impressed with that. What, he's 17, 18 years old? I talked to Dad later. He goes, no, he's a good guy, good kid. Goes to Davidson, too. All right, there's 1 hour down. We've got 1 more to go, or actually 2 more to go. Don't shortchange yourself, Murphy. It's Supertalk 99.7 WTN. Friends, membersnutrition.com is a click away when it comes to the web service that they provide, but it means so much when you go there. It could mean so much to your health. Let's talk about it. I do not buy vitamins or supplements anywhere else now that I know about Members Nutrition. It's not just that I talk about them on the radio from time to time. It's not just that I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. That's membersnutrition.com. It's that I've been there. And I've seen the price difference. And I understand that vitamins and supplements are such a valuable way to not have to rely on pharmaceutical medication and to keep aging at bay, to detox, to gain energy, to gain immunity naturally, relaxation, men's health, women's health, weight loss. It's all right there and available to you at Members Nutrition. I strongly encourage you to go and comparison shop. All I ask you to do is this. Go to Members Nutrition. Look at some of the incredible supplements that they have. Write down the cost. Go to your big box store. Look at the cost there. Then look at where the big box store brands are made and look at where Members Nutrition is made, right here in the good old USA. I think the cost and where they're manufactured will be the difference maker for you like it was for me. Membersnutrition.com. That's membersnutrition.com for more information. I encourage you to buy today at Members Nutrition. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show underway for hour number 2, starting right now at Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Corbett and Daryl, you're going to be the last two on the issue, at least for now, on abortion and adoption. And then we're going to transition over to our education discussion. I'm segmenting this hour because I'm very curious where you are on this subject. I think we're hearing from a lot of concerted interests. I think we're hearing from a lot of special interests. I think we're hearing from a lot of people who have political interest, and I don't know that we're hearing enough from the people on the issue of education and education scholarships in the state of Tennessee. This thing's coming down to it. So you've got the Senate version of this bill, the House version of this bill, and they're a little bit different as I understand it, but this week and next week are crucial in terms of the governor's plan to expand the education scholarship program from a limited few to 20,000 students. It would be at a cost of $140 million to the taxpaying citizens of the state of Tennessee. This is not money that's coming directly from the education budgets necessarily, although some of that money naturally slides over, or that money is freed up as those students leave the public education arena and enter private education. This, for its supporters, would give families who are on the cusp of being able to afford private education a better opportunity. It gives them another tool in their educational toolbox. Some are saying, how dare you use public money for what should go to public schools? Look, I have made my argument. I am in support of anything that gives parents a better ability to break the back of the monopoly of public education. The only thing that's going to save public education is breaking the monopoly. And sadly, even with private education existing, many families cannot take advantage of it because they essentially have to double pay. They already pay tax money to send their kids to public schools, and on top of that, you have to pay money to send your kids to private schools. Some families can manage that, not enough to become a competitive force in the marketplace, a fairly competitive force in the marketplace. So I'm very curious what you think about it. What I want to do, if you are up, if you're aware on where you are on the Education Scholarship Fund, let us know. 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. You can call in. Here's my plan. I'm not going to argue with anybody. If you have any questions for me about the issue, as much as I can answer it, I will answer it. I think I'm as up as most, probably more than most, on this issue. So I can answer any questions that you might have. And if I can't answer them, I certainly know people that can. But more than that, I want to give you an opportunity to speak on this. I hear a lot of special interest talking about it. I hear a lot of people on this side or that. I have a lot of friends on this side or that. I want to know where you are. I will not argue. I will simply give you an opportunity for 30 seconds or so to make your case as to why you think this is a good idea and you're for it, or a bad idea and against it. And I promise you this, the people in this state that matter with regard to getting this passed, the people over there on Capitol Hill, those that have been elected to represent you, they're listening to this radio show. I promise you that. Folks in the governor's office are listening to this radio show. Vested interests in this matter are listening to you. They don't listen for me. I'm just a blabbermouth. They listen for you. And I want to know what you think about it. For some reason, the voice of the people has been overwhelmed with the voice of the special interest. I can't imagine why. Can't imagine that it has anything to do with money. I'm not against the special interest. Don't get me wrong. The special interest serve a need too. But I'm more curious to hear from you. So what we'll do, you call in. No argument from me. Whatever your position might be on the matter, I want to know where you are on it. I don't know. Do enough people even understand it? Have we explained it to the people in a way where they have formed a cogent opinion on it? Do people even care? I'm beginning to wonder how much people actually care about it. I know that the interested parties do. Do the average Tennesseans? Do they give a rip? Well, that's what I want to know. 615-737-9986. I promised Corbett and Daryl I'll get to you while we load up the other phone lines with regard to that issue. Corbett is calling in on the issue of abortion and adoption. Hey, Corbett, how are you?
I'm doing great, Matt. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for calling in.
I'm concerned with the abortion, or actually the adoption. The numbers aren't necessarily that correct, and I'm just going to base this off of my church. I go to church in Chickamauga, Georgia, and we have probably, 10 sets of grandparents that have had to adopt their grandchildren. So, the numbers that we see aren't even that accurate, and whether they've adopted them or just took custody of them because unfortunately their children are lost on drugs and all of that type of stuff, it makes it harder for us to help out in the foster care when our own kids aren't taking care of their own kids. It just seems like it's it's a cycle that keeps continuing and gets even worse in today's society.
Well, I mean, you're talking to somebody that was raised by his grandparents, right? So
Right.
I can understand it, and it hits close to my heart to know that there are so many grandparents that are taking care of their grandbabies. Sadly, it is true. I'm of two minds, Corbett, and thank you for your call. One mind is simply a thank you to all of those grandparents that are there, willing to take care of their grandbabies. I know in my circumstance, my mother had a malignant brain tumor when I was 5 years old, and my father left home, left his children and his wife when he found out about it. And thank God, I thank God for my grandmother, obviously, and my mom for as best she could. Once she was able, she raised her children. But man, oh man, I'll tell you, I don't know what we would have done without my grandpa. He didn't ask for any of that. He had it thrust upon him that he was to raise 3 grandchildren, starting in his middle 50s. And what a great job he did. And yeah, I don't know where we would have been. So certainly I can understand your frustration with the number of grandparents that we see, and I just thank God that they're there. And I understand that with that familial relationship, obviously they're not going to branch out and necessarily have the ability to do more. I think we can do more on this front. I do. Daryl is the final thought on this, and then we'll get to school choice. Hey, Daryl, how are you?
Hey, Matt, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for calling in.
Awesome. This is a really subject that's really close to my heart. Me and my wife decided 15 years ago to adopt some children. And right now we have 8 children at home. We've adopted 9.
Wow.
I'm 61 years old.
Okay, Daryl, this is after an hour of trying to encourage people to adopt. This is the point in the show that I ask, "What's wrong with you?"
Well, that's what I get from everybody. One of my favorite lines is that when people say, "Are you crazy?" I say, "Yeah, probably are, but everybody's crazy in a way. We're all doing things that we need help to do each and every day. And why not just do something that just blows everybody away? And this is something that children need love. The problem that we have in the world today is the fact that we don't have fathers, we don't have mothers being what they need to be. And then the foster system, plenty of children out there to adopt each and every day. And it's been a blessing in me and my wife's life. Right now we have a 5, 6, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, a 23, and a 33, and a 34.
Wow.
And it's been one of the biggest blessings in my life. And I just encourage anybody, don't worry about your age. I'm 61. I'm still trucking right along. And don't be scared of your age. Just make sure you're 100% in it.
Gosh, Daryl, you make me realize how much more I need to do, friend. You really do. I'd love to meet you one day. Shake your hand.
Well, it'd be a blessing.
Well, God bless you, and God bless those children of yours.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, take care. That's cool. I mean, that'll set you right. When you're wondering if you're doing enough, talk to Daryl. He's adopted 9. Wow. It's incredible. Okay, school choice. Here are the parameters. Here's the rules. I want to know where you are. I want to know if it matters to you. I want to know if you think it doesn't matter one little bit. I want to know if you're all in favor. I want to know if you're all against. And I'm not going to argue with you about any of it. Y'all know that I believe in giving people the tools, parents the tools that they need for their children. Y'all know where I'm at. I don't need to remind you. I want to know where you're at. I want you to have a voice on this because, trust me, the powerful people over there that are about to make some decisions about a lot of your money, they're listening. They don't listen for me. They listen for you. So, unabated, at least 30 seconds or so, I might have follow-up questions or whatever. School choice is on the table. Dawn is in Bellevue first up on this subject. Hey, Dawn, thank you for calling in.
Hi. Thanks for listening.
Absolutely. Well, I am all ears. I'm curious your thoughts on this.
Okay, well, I am a teacher, and I am all in on this because I've seen so many parents through the years, your zip code shouldn't determine the schools that your kids go to. I just think it's awful. I've seen so many kids that could just do wonders in private school. I'm all for it. I mean, I'm a teacher, and I'm still all for it.
I love it. That's great. That's succinct to the point. You got it in under the wire, and I love that. Dawn, thank you for the call, and thank you for the perspective. 615-737-9986. That's the way to get it done. Mary is next in Suwanee. Hey, Mary. Am I pronouncing that correctly, Mary? Is it Suwanee?
It is.
How are you?
All right.
Good. What are your thoughts on this?
I'm against it.
All right. Talk to me.
Okay. Number one, it's not a whole lot of money to help people that really need it. And it's a lot of our tax dollars that they need to figure out and let the people in power figure out what they can do to our own school system to fix it rather than put it into this. And there's so many aspects that in private schools that a lot of people aren't going to be able to meet. They're not going to be able to get their children to the schools.
Okay. I'm hearing you. All right, and I appreciate it, and I'm hearing you. Mary's saying that she just doesn't feel like it's enough money, and there's just too many problems with the issues involving everything that surrounds these decisions. I hear you, Mary. 615-737-9986. You're lining them up, and we're knocking them down in just a moment. Your thoughts on school choice without Murphy interfering. No Murphy opinions, your opinions on the issue of school scholarships. The Freedom Education Scholarship is up in the General Assembly, and the next, 5 or 8 legislative days are going to be crucial as to whether this thing gets passed or not. And I want the lawmakers to know where you are on it. Call us, 615-737-9986. Back in a moment. Oh, I hear you, men. You fellas down there in Columbia, down there in Spring Hill, you folks down there in Pulaski, you're thinking, well, Murphy, I want to schedule an appointment with Tennessee Men's Clinic, but it's too far to drive. That Midtown Nashville location, I mean, I understand that they do great work. I don't think you all sound this way, by the way. I think they do great work. And obviously, their qualified urologist will give men a complete examination and see what's going on inside of their bodies and get them a plan of action that will lead to successful energy, successful life, successful bedroom activity. But I don't want to drive so far, Matt, because it's all the way in Nashville. Well, never you fear. Objection denied, because now they have a location in Cool Springs. That's in Franklin. So why don't you stop by the Franklin office or schedule an appointment today? 2 offices to serve, and boy, oh boy, are they serving the men of Middle Tennessee. They're helping you get back that energy, get back that drive, get back that bedroom activity, get back that gym activity, whatever it is that you're feeling sluggish about. There are natural things that are happening in your body, man. We want to replace some of those T levels, make sure that you have your levels where they should be, and that's going to give you that energy, vitality, and drive. 2 locations. I mentioned the Cool Springs one. There's one in Midtown, too, for those of you north of the city. Give them a call at 615-208-9090 to schedule an appointment today, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Craft Body Scan does a lot of things to give you a view inside of your body without having to go in there. Remember that old movie, The Fantastic Voyage, where the people got shrunk and they went inside of the body to, I think they were trying to zap a tumor that was inside of a guy's body. Well, they don't zap tumors inside of your body and they don't shrink themselves, but it's about the same type of technology, right? At Craft Body Scan, they can look inside of your heart, look inside of your lungs. They can look inside all aspects of your body with a full body scan, and they can see what's going on long before you can feel what's going on. Preventative maintenance, it is so key to a healthy life, and it's time to get that look inside of the lungs, look inside of the heart for $149 for you and a spouse, you and a love mate, you and a brother or sister. This is an over $1,300 value that can be yours for $149. And if you sign up, you can bring along a significant other, and they'll get a heart and lung scan as well. It takes about 5 to 8 minutes once you get inside the facility, and it is done right here in the middle of Nashville. CraftBodyScan.com. That's CraftBodyScan.com. craftbodyscan.com, or give them a call at 615-436-1000. Schedule an appointment today. Get peace of mind tonight. 615-436-1000, Craft Body Scan. $126 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Matt Murphy gets out of the way and allows you to opine, and I have lawmakers communicating with me. I've got lawmakers texting me, Bell, telling me I'm listening, I'm hearing what the people are saying on the issue of the Freedom Scholarship Fund.
Which ones?
Mike Sparks is one that just texted me.
Sapicki, where are you, man?
Well,
Come on.
there are others. I used Mike's name because I don't think he would mind. But Mike's listening. Out of Smyrna. And so there you go. I mean, that's just one of several that I have received, and many, many more that are listening. By the way, now's a good time for me to tell you, this is a caller-driven hour, so you're going to get a lot of telephone calls this hour.
Oh, it's fine. I mean, people are obviously very interested in this subject, but I did want to say that Scott Sapicki is pretty much a member of this show. Mm-hmm. He appears every Thursday, and if he can't make time out of his day to listen to the other 4 days of the week, maybe we don't need him.
Oh, maybe he is, and you don't know. Maybe he's just quiet.
All I know is if he's on the floor, he can have an earpiece in listening to the show.
Oh, well, that's true.
So thanks, Scott.
Thanks a lot, Scott. I appreciate you, even if Bell does not. I appreciate all of you calling in.
Spicy wants to have words with him. That's all I got to say.
Someone asked if there were any spicy adoptions last weekend. No, there were no emotional support cobras available for adoption at the adoption event. And I don't believe that Bell's cobra is that emotionally supportive of Bell. Otherwise, he might have a different attitude, different outlook on life, frankly. All right. 30 unabated seconds or whatever you need to express your opinion. I'm not here to change your mind necessarily. I'm here to hear your opinion. I can change your mind any day of the week and twice on Sundays. But right now, I want to know where you are on the issue of the Freedom Scholarship Fund. If you have any questions, I can try to answer those for you. Let's see. Who is next? I believe it's Robert in the borough. Hello, Robert. Your thoughts?
I'm against welfare, whether it's for rich people or poor people, and that's all this is. This is welfare for rich people. The governor's friends, they all want some of my taxpayer money. They keep saying it's their money they're going to get back. I ain't none of them paying $7,000 a year in sales tax. That's the state's money. The property tax, that's the county's money. They ain't getting none of that. So this is nothing more than getting into the coffers. It's $140 million today. It'll be $700 million in 3 years. We'll have a state income tax if this gets passed, because that's all this is just a boondoggle, and it's going to run our taxes. If Phil Valentine and Steve Gill would be appalled at this. They stopped the state income tax once, and 99.7 is trying to help pass one this time.
Robert, I offer you an opportunity to speak unabated, but you choose to take that opportunity to attack the radio station that I work at, and I'm sorry for that. We are all Americans. We all have opinions on these matters. And I don't know what Phil would think about it. And I don't think you do either.
Yeah, actually, I do. I listened to him from the entire time he was on the radio.
I'm not here to argue with you.
I can say,
you can attack,
I'll say that he was a consistent person.
You can attack me. That's fine. I mean, if you want to attack me, that's fine.
Attack you?
Yeah.
You told me last time we talked that you wasn't for this, and then you turn right around this time and say, yeah, I really am for this.
What?
Because you were for it all along. We've done talked about this once, me and you.
Robert, I just wanted to offer you an opportunity to share your opinion. You took some of that. And I appreciate you calling in. I appreciate you listening. You don't have to attack me to share your opinion.
I didn't attack you. People consider themselves attacked when they're called out on the carpet for lying.
No. I am for freedom. I mean, we can debate it. We can debate it if you want to debate it. That's fine. I don't believe that you have any idea where Phil would be on this issue because I don't know that it ever came up. That was my only point.
Phil Valentine was against welfare, and he was against sending state money to things.
Was Phil in favor of monopolies?
This is not getting rid of
Robert, answer the question I asked you.
I know the question is,
was Phil in favor of monopolies? Yes or no?
Yes, he liked Apple phones.
Was he in favor of monopolies? Yes or no?
He liked Apple phones, right?
That's not the question I asked you. Was he in favor of monopolies? Yes or no?
you can turn stuff and try to make it however you want.
Look, you're the one that told me that you speak for the dead. You're the one that told me you speak for the dead. Goodbye. I promise you I'm not here to argue with you. And that's fine. You can attack me all you want. That's cool. I mean, that's all good. I shouldn't have allowed that to get under my skin, and I did. And I apologize to those who I promised that I would not argue with folks about any of this. Robert, you are against it. It is duly noted. And anybody in favor of it is pushing for an income tax, I guess, is what Robert's point was. 131 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We'll go to a break. Back after this. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy and you. Unabated opportunity to offer your opinion, except I failed in the last caller. Robert, I still love you. I know you're still listening. I appreciate you, buddy. I know you're angry at me for some reason. By the way, just to reset the record, Bell, you can confirm this, and Bell would not lie just because he gets paid to.
Actually, that's not true. I absolutely would.
I'm on the record as I'm against public education, right?
Yeah.
I'm on the record.
Yes.
That if I had my way, I do not believe that it is the public's responsibility to educate your child. I just don't. So
that's a factor you have to consider when you choose to have a child.
Right. And you should consider it when you choose to have a child. So, Robert, I guess if we walk this back to its genesis, then, then we shouldn't have public education at all. And I don't know what Phil would feel about that, and I don't pretend that I would. You can figure out for yourself whether you think Phil would feel certain ways about certain things. He liked Apple phones, after all. 615-737.
Those are the only phones that exist, by the way. So don't
because
forget
because that's a monopoly. Yeah, right. I mean, I get it, but his point was stupid. Anyway, no offense taken, Robert, that you were making a stupid point. No offense. 615-737-9986. I'll try to make good on my problem. I'm doing good. I'm doing
better
good.
than usual.
I'm doing good. I got through like 4 calls before I argued with somebody. Isn't that good? Look, if you're against it, you're against it. That's cool. We've got, according to my math, I got like 3 against and 1 for so far. Anna's in Brentwood. Anna, I promised I'd argue with you. How are you?
Oh, hey, I'm fine.
Good.
I'm fine.
Good.
Well, I wanted to hit one spot, but then I can definitely help you with opinions on the school thing. I adopted children at 50 as a single woman, and it will keep you young. You start to live with this 30 group, and you stay young. You got little kids, and you just stay young. And I will tell you that I live in one of the premier school districts of the state of Tennessee, and my children had learning differences. And I'll just tell you the short story. I had to do private schools, and $7,000 is a drip in the bucket. It's bullshit. Excuse me. $7,000. You have to drop off. You have to pick up. You have to buy uniforms. You have to. We had to buy a computer when they decided to use computers. It's a drop in the bucket. $7,000 is nothing. 20 years ago, $10,000 was the basis of the school, and then you paid $2,500 each class your child needed help.
25. Wait, did you say 2,500?
$2,500 per class.
Wow.
I still wear the chain, the keychain they get, holder. And somebody said, "What is that?" And I said, "It's $90,000 keychain." I could have bought a sports car. I could have had I loved my kid, and I know if you can't get them through high school, they aren't going to do anything. So this school was very excellent at, I could tell you that a person from the county where I lived, we kept having meetings at the school, and finally the head person was sitting right beside me, and she said, "Well, Miss blah, 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 have you told your child, I won't say which sex, have you told your child they have a learning how did she know? Learning disability." And I stepped there a moment. Child was in 3rd grade, and I said, "No, I haven't told her exactly like that, but I bet you're making that really clear over here at school."
Wow.
The atmosphere was awful.
Anna, I'm sorry to suspend it, but I'm trying to get to as many as I can. Do I mark you down as for or against this scholarship program?
It's not enough money. It's bull.
Okay.
It's a no. It won't do anything.
All right, so you're a no. Okay. All right. Well, I'm call me back and we can continue to have the conversation. I'm sorry to rush you, but I'm trying to limit it to roughly 30 seconds or so of unabated conversation about this matter. I want to get the pulse of the people. It's why I say that if you are a member of the public, if you are a person of us, concerned about this issue, if you have an opinion one way or the other, give us a call at 615-737-9986 and we'll get you on air. The only caveat is if I sniff a stiff, I hang up on you. What is a stiff? That is a seminar caller. That is someone that has a vested interest in this in some form or fashion, part of the political class, whatever. I just want the average folks calling in, the people that this may or may not affect calling in, giving us their opinion. Don is next in the borough. Don, your thoughts? Hey, Don. D-O-N.
Matt.
Hey, Don.
No, this is John.
Oh, John, I'm sorry for that. How are you?
Good, brother. How are you?
I'm doing well.
So here's I don't have any kids in school right now, but I got custody of my son when he was 11. I took him out of public schools his freshman year and homeschooled him. Had him work side jobs during the summertime to learn a trade. If they want to take and help with this $7,000, then offer parents like they get a child tax credit, when you have multiple children, if you don't make so much money, give them an educational tax credit and allow them to homeschool their children. My son is 23 years old. Matt, last year, he made almost $80,000. This year, he's scheduled to make almost $100,000 because I had him learn a trade. That's what these kids nowadays need to learn. They need to learn a trade, and they need to have an education where they're not having LGBTQ, all of that crammed down their throats, the CRT and everything else. They need to learn math. They need to learn history. They need to learn English. They need to learn everyday life facts. And that's not what they're getting. And it doesn't matter if it's a private school or if it's a public school. Everybody has an agenda. But incentivize the parents to educate their kids through homeschooling. There's plenty of colleges and educations out there online to where their kids can get an education.
So I have to ask the question. I think I know the answer, Don, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Am I marking you down as for or against?
I'm against it.
All right.
But I think if they're going to offer these incentives, then put it back on the parents to where they can pick the kind of education that their child is going to get by giving them a tax credit instead of making the taxpayers pay that $7,000.
Right. The idea is, I won't debate the particulars of what you just said. I mean, it's your opinion. I promise not to do that, but we can maybe get into that. The reasons. Fine. I mean, there are specific reasons why they're offering it as a scholarship that goes to the school, as opposed to offering it as a voucher, which is what the tax credit would be.
Right.
Because
in
other states where they offer it as a voucher or credit, they have found that people apply for the credit, take the credit, and just send their kids to public school anyway.
Exactly.
So, but duly noted, Don. I'm glad you called. You've obviously expressed your opinion very well, and I thank you for that. 145, Super Talk 99.7 WT, and I'm getting the lay of the land. I'm keeping a tabulation right now on the phone lines. I think I have 5 against and 2 for. In terms of folks being able to get through, so many of you wishing to get through, 615-737-9986. If you're calling in, just keep that call rolling. Bell has left the building. Bell has decided that he's out. So we'll get to you in a second. Is this Mary Lynn? Oh, no, I lost Mary Lynn there. Sorry about that, Mary Lynn. Let's see. Let's go to, I don't know who's next. Jeff is in Lawrenceburg. Hey, Jeff. How are you?
Hey, good afternoon. Longtime WWTN fan. I appreciate what you do.
Thank you, Jeff.
And just mark me down in the plus column for this. I think it's a step in improving our school system in some fashion. We in our small rural county, we somewhat have school choice. You can choose to go to just about any public school in our county if you drive them there yourself. I was on the board of education for a while, and we tried to work on a nepotism policy, and we found out in a small county, everybody's related to everybody. So it was almost futile to work on something like that. But I think this is a step in changing school systems, maybe for the better.
Well spoken. That's the spirit of what we're doing here. About 30 seconds to make your opinion known. I'm not timing you. I'm not buzzing you out. I try to be respectful of your time, but I'm curious to get as many thoughts and as many comments on the matter as possible because we're coming down to it. There is a Senate version and a House version. They are battering through getting those two things closer together right now in the General Assembly. So the question then is, where are you, the general public, on this matter? 615-737-9986. John is next out of Columbia. John, thank you for your call. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Matt. I'm for it. I think that every parent should have the right to have their kids' education how and where they want it. And I don't feel that people should be forced to sending their kids into the current indoctrination centers we have.
Very good. Succinct. Tools for the toolbox. I like it, John. Thank you for the call. We'll go to Larry next in Dixon. Hello, Larry. You're on the radio. How are you, sir?
Hello. Good. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
I'm with John. I'm with John. We need to get them out of the schools, give parents a choice, and it'll just automatically shut the bad ones down because everybody will leave them.
Shake it up a little bit.
That's right.
Yes, sir. I like that. Larry, Larry, just a side question while we have 10 seconds left. You live out there in Dixon?
Yeah.
Man, it's God's country out there. I love it out there.
Yep.
Well,
you be blessed.
I'll holler at you when I get that way, okay?
All right.
I'll yell out my car window, Larry! Larry will say, Murph! And then I'll keep on trucking. Eric is next in Livingston. Hello, Eric. How are you?
Hi, it's me, Terry.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was the name?
It's Terry.
Terry. I apologize. Terry, how are you, Terry?
Yeah, I'm doing well today. I just wanted to call in and say I'm all for it. I have a daughter with a genetic disorder called trisomy 9, and she does have a learning disability. We are looking into private education for her. Will the $7,000 cover it? No, but it will make it possible for us to get her into a private education where she has a better chance than she ever will in public school.
Well, that's well spoken. Terry, thank you. God bless you. You said it was trisomy 9?
Yeah, it's called trisomy 9. It's a genetic disorder. She's born with an extra chromosome.
Okay. How do you spell? My curiosity gets better. How do you spell trisomy? I'm just curious.
If I could write it down, I could.
Well, send it to me. Maybe text it to me or something like that. I didn't mean to put you on the spot there, but God bless you and God bless your family, and I appreciate the thoughts on all of this. No, there are certain needs from a special education standpoint that the public school system simply is not prepared to meet. It is a homogenized version of education, sadly, even in the best of circumstances. 149. All right, we'll clear as many of these as we possibly can coming up in just a moment. Get you the tabulations as we spend an hour getting your thoughts, unfettered, or at least as much as I possibly can, by opinion from me, on what is best and what is next for education in the state of Tennessee. It's 150 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I mean, come on, Mark at the Safe House, it's what he does. I mean, his name is the Safe House, Nashville Safe House, right? Now, he does one thing. Well, two things. I just thought of two things. He does two things other than safes, and more safes. He does vault doors, which is kind of a safe. So really, let's put that in the safe category. And then he does storm shelters. But if you think about it, when a storm comes, how are you kept safe? You see what I did there? It's through your storm shelter, through Nashville Safe House. So really, if you think about it, the only thing that Mark does is safes. Don't go to those guys that it's got a safe in the ground. They're selling everything else under the sun, and they don't know. I mean, I'm not here to cast aspersions, but they don't know nothing about safes. Mark and his team, it's what they do. They, of course, have gun safes, jewelry safes, corporate safes, safes for your valuables in your home. things that will protect you and your family can be protected with a safe from Nashville Safe House. Plus, Browning still has the rebates. It's still rebate season around there at Nashville Safe House. They want to see you. They've got every brand under the sun, and they charge for their delivery. You know why? Because they have professionals delivering your safe, not some third-party folk that you don't know where they're from, that you don't know what they were doing the day before yesterday. Well, you'll know when you get delivered from Nashville Safe House that you're being delivered by professionals. NashvilleSafeHouse.com. That's NashvilleSafeHouse.com. Call Mark and his team today or stop by 4th Avenue South in Nashville. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, getting your opinion on where you are on the Freedom Education Scholarship Fund. I think I'm saying that correctly. There are about 14 different names for it, but you guys know what we're talking about. Let's get to as many as humanly possible before we're going to say goodbye to this subject. We're going to use voting day rules on this, Bell. Voting day rules means that no more calls on it after 2, but if you're already in line, we'll take your calls on it after 2 o'clock. Does that make sense? So if you want to get involved in it, 615-737-9986. I have to do that. Otherwise, we would do this until 3 o'clock or until 7 o'clock or until the cows come home because so many of you have opinions. Andy is next in Nashville with a thought on the subject. Hello, Andy. Thanks for calling in. Hey, Andy. Andrew.
Hear me?
Hey, I can hear you now.
Hear me now?
Yeah, I got you now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, sorry, brother.
Yeah, man.
Originally, I was a yes, and then I started listening to some of the conservatives on your show and some of the others, and I got to say I'm a no right now. When I heard from the one guy who said that we actually have, through the governor's office, the power to square away the public school system, I think that's a much better idea. Fix what's broken, don't add some other stuff, and there's not enough openings to stick 20,000 kids in these schools anyway. So how are they going to do it?
All right, very good. I hear you. I hear your thoughts on it. Thank you very much, Andy, for the call. All right, that puts a capper on the calls that we'll take. But if you're already in queue, I got 2 Davids, a Kevin, a Lee, and a Heather. 2 Davids, and whoever's on line 1 because it's not 2 o'clock yet. So count line 1. And we'll clear those, and then we'll move on to other things, such as Arizona has improved the idea of human composting. My thoughts on this, my sincerest thoughts on this might surprise you. And I'll share those next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Two o'clock, I'm Mac Maury with your top stories. Currently 63 degrees, a cloudy day here in Nashville. We got a chance of showers here later on this afternoon as we head into tonight. And really a wet week ahead until we get into Friday. That sun will start poking out again. Weather forecast on the way. 2 minutes. Arizona Supreme Court has ruled a Civil War-era law banning abortions is the law in the state. Karen Travers has reaction from President Biden.
President Biden says in a new statement that millions of Arizonans will, quote, soon live under an even more extreme and dangerous abortion ban. The court was considering whether Arizona's current ban on abortions after 15 weeks is the law there, or if the 160-year-old law banning nearly all abortions is the enforceable law. The court said it's the 1864 ban. The president says the ruling by the Arizona State Supreme Court is, quote, a result of the extreme agenda of Republican elected officials who are committed to ripping away women's freedom.
Here in the volunteer state, billions of dollars being wagered on sports in Tennessee. The Tennessee Sports Wagering Council says $3.18 billion was laid down from July 1st of last year to this past February 29th. $58.5 million has been taken in taxes from it. News 2 reports 80% of that in a fiscal year goes to the Lottery for Education account, 15% to the general fund to be dispersed to local governments, and the remaining 5% to the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services. That's the latest news. Weather forecast next. I'm Mac Maury, WTN News.
The Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief is located in Franklin, and anywhere within the sound of my voice, I want you to feel pain relief. Real pain relief, not just talking about it, but actually feeling it in your hips, in your elbows, in your neck, your knee, your back, wherever you might hurt. I know that this can be the case because it's happened to me. I went to the Dr. Gill Center. I saw Dr. Gill. I talked with him. I met with Dr. Wendy. She was in charge of my initial consultation. You can go and have an initial consultation for less than $50, $49. They'll bring you in. They'll sit you down. They'll consult with you. They'll talk with you. They'll go over and examine you. Then you get some x-rays. They'll go over those x-rays on the same day, same visit, and then they'll work a plan of action that is geared towards successful alleviation of the pain without the need for pills, without the need for needles, and without the consideration for surgery. That's what it's all about, right? Is making you feel better within your body without the need to cover things up with pills or needles or whatnot. That's what they're all about at the Dr. Gill Center, and they utilize the most modern of technologies like spinal decompression, their Class 5 laser system, red light therapy system, all designed to help you feel better. That's what it's all about. Let's make this appointment today, shall we? 615-882-4838. 882-4838, the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief in Franklin. Is this thing on? You had me on while I was sticking my tongue out?
Yes. If my cue to turn you on the camera is usually when you put your headphones on.
Uh-huh.
So if you have your headphones on, more than likely you're on camera.
Okay. I don't have my monitor up in here. Oh, wait, we don't have a monitor in here. That's right. There's no monitor in here for me to look at it. But do I have any? How am I doing, Belle? I got any boogies?
It looks like you might have a little one in your left nostril.
Okay. Yeah. All right. There you go. 615-737-9986. Don't call those numbers right now because we want to clean out, flush the lines, if you will, on the subject from last hour. I promised that it will always be voting rules when it comes to subjects like this, when we bring these things up from time to time. Occasionally, I try to get out of the way and get the sense of where you are on these matters. When I do try to get out of the way and get the sense of where you are, we have voting rules, meaning if you're in line at the time that the voting is over, you'll still get to vote, but you don't get to get in line late. So if you're there at 7 o'clock, good for you. You get to vote. If you were there at 2 o'clock, you get to vote. And I've got Ray and David and Kevin and Lee and Heather that I'm getting to. What are we voting on? Well, it's the matter of, and I'll count up the numbers on the Members Nutrition Super Text line and give you a tally before the end of the show. Those are going to take a little bit longer. A couple of breaks while you listen to the Cars for Kids commercial. I'll be formulating the final ballot and tally. Right now, I'm looking at, and I'm not making, it's 6-4 and 5 against, is at least my tally so far on the phone lines. In the meantime, we've got a couple of other matters to discuss this hour, to include the video of the chair. We have found the chair. I know so many of you were concerned about it. Belle, will you please ask McMurray? I know he's busy digging up headlines and making sure
He's just talking to Chris.
Right, that's what I meant. But when I say digging up headlines, I mean yapping with Weber. Have you seen the video of the chair? Have you seen the chair?
I've seen the chair.
Are you on top of the story?
I am on top of it. What kind of news guy would I be?
I mean, I'm a little bit surprised. I'm not telling anybody.
Was this a high quality chair? Do we know?
It was a quality. I don't know if I would say high quality. It's kind of like
it's Eric Church's joint, man, and you expect it to be high quality.
It looks to be, McMurray, tell me if I'm wrong here, like an all weather chair.
Yep, for sure.
It looks like an outdoor chair.
Outdoor,
but it looks to be a high quality outdoor chair.
Yeah,
we're talking aluminum chair.
I was gonna say, yeah, aluminum, heavy. It's got some weight to it.
Maybe some wood. Maybe the seat.
I think the back and the seat.
The back and the seat maybe
might
some wood.
Hurt if it landed on you.
Oh, there's no question. Kill you.
This would kill you.
Yeah, it would kill you off the 6th floor.
Morgan.
But the best part is we not only, and once again, I'm not telling the news department, Ken Weaver, McMurray, and the rest of these guys, Jay Hart, all of them over there. I'm not telling anybody how to do their job. I'm a little bit surprised Weaver did not dispatch Maury down to Chiefs to do a little investigative reporting on our own with Super Talk 99.7.
I thought that was scheduled for after the end of the workday.
It's funny. I've heard a lot of gripes about that. Why is there a Chiefs bar in downtown Nashville? What are we doing?
And why have you not been to it?
I know. Why am I not there every
Is
day?
the greater question. Have you seen the video of the thing going?
Yes.
They have. So I promise we'll get back to serious thing. They've isolated security camera footage on the building. And now they have found the moment where from way off in the distance, and they have to point, they put a little red arrow, look here and you'll see it. And you see the little. And then I'm certain that at that moment you hear all the cops go, "What was that?"
Yeah, freak out. I mean,
oh, yeah.
I mean, we just had a few weeks ago, Matt, I can't remember which mall it was, but we had a whole mall shut down because of chairs hitting the floor.
That's true.
People thought it was gunshots.
That's true. So if you want to see the moment, it's available online. I mean, TMZ's got it. The moment captured from street level outside of Chiefs Bar in downtown Nashville, Lower Broad, where the chair is seen flying over the rooftop ledge 6 stories above. Well, you can't see who threw it from the angle from the street, but we now know who threw it. And he's in a lot of trouble. Okay, your final thoughts on, at least for today, the issue of the scholarship bill that is in front of the legislature. Ray is. I don't think Ray was next. It said Ray was next. My system is screwing with me. David is next in Knoxville. Hey, David. Glad you called. How are you?
Hey, doing well, Matt. Thanks for taking my call.
Of course.
Well, I'll try to be quick because I know you're trying to get through with this, but I'm all for it. The way I look at it, I've been in the workforce for 15, 16 years, and I've been paying for everybody else's education with my sales tax dollars. And if I want to use $7,000 that's allocated for my daughter to send her somewhere that I think is best or better than where she's zoned for school, then I ought to be able to do that. It's my tax money anyhow.
I like it. No, it's a well-stated position, and I have you marked it down, David, and I thank you for the call. From David number 1 to David number 2 we go. Hello, David. How are you?
Hey, how you doing, Matt?
Great.
Thanks for taking the call.
Of course.
Hey, listen, I just wanted to put my 2 cents on this. I've been a public school teacher for 10 years. Started out in Los Angeles, did a couple years here in Nashville, and I came out of the corporate world into the school district. People have to stop thinking that the schools are the same as when they went to school. That's the problem they're having. Their reality, when you talk about schools, people think it's the same now as when they went to school, and it's not. I can tell you without a doubt that if you can get your kid out of public school and put them into a private or a private school or any kind of a school that they can come in and get more one-on-one attention, they're the best. Homeschool or private school are the best students I ever had in Los Angeles and here. So I'm all for it.
All for it. I like it. Thank you, David, for the call. Appreciate you in the midst of taking a few final calls on this matter. I see where, and I'm certain that Mac Morey's got this back in the newsroom. Earlier this morning, a Tennessee committee was shut down by Moms Demand Action and parents from the Covenant School. That, at least according to State Representative Antonio Parkinson. I don't know what the nature of that shutdown was as of yet, but it apparently happened about 2 hours ago today. We'll continue monitoring that on Super Talk 99.7 WT. And in the meantime, 4 more online votes or 4 more on-air votes, and then we'll tally up the Members Nutrition Super Text line. Kevin, you're up next on Super Talk. How are you?
Fine. I'll make it quick. I think there's a lot of positives. I'm against it for one reason and one reason only. I'm afraid that there's a certain segment of society that's going to see it as a payday, and they'll pull their kids out and say they're homeschooling them, but they won't do it, and they're just going to see dollar signs, and then those kids, they'll become a problem of society.
I hear you. Okay, I got it down, and I understand your concerns. Thank you, Kevin, for the telephone call. Next up is Lee in Fairview. Lee, you're up on Super Talk. How are you? Hello, Lee. Lee, or I guess Leigh. Lee going once. I'll try you back, Lee. Heather is next in Nashville. Hello, Heather. Thank you for the call. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I am generally in favor of, competition. I really think that the public schools need to be improved, but I think that's where we need to put our focus. Make the public schools more like the private schools, figure out what the private schools are doing right, and put our money there and get rid of all this craziness going on in the public schools. Because if we don't save the public schools, then where are we down the road? I think that this money is probably going to mostly go to students that are already in private schools because there's not that many openings in private schools. Like one of your earlier callers said, I think it'll just the people that are already putting that money into private schools will get to take advantage of it, which might be okay. They deserve tax money too, but I just think it's I'm a no. Fix the public schools.
Got it. Got your no. Thank you, Heather, for the call, and thank you for that argument. I do appreciate it. 2 more to go unless Lee's not there. Lee, are you there?
I am here.
Hey, Lee.
Yes, sir. I am in favor of school choice. I'm not in favor of the government educating my children. However, since the government already uses funds and a lot allocates funds to educate children, I am in favor of school choice.
So you're in favor of this legislation as we understand it?
Yes.
Yeah,
I've got a 9-year-old. We took her out of public school and put her in private Christian school where she is thriving. If sometime we may qualify for the additional help, it could be beneficial. But it's again, I'm in favor of the school choice for the parents, and although I don't think it's the government's job to educate my children.
Lee, I could not be more with you. I mean, I think you eloquently stated my position on the matter. I say, and people think that I'm kidding, that I'm not in favor of public education. I'm not in favor of public education. I think it's proven to be a failure. I secondarily do not believe that it is the responsibility of the state through taxpayer dollars to fund the education of your children. I think if more parents, I think public education should exist as a safety net in the same fashion that food stamps exist as a safety net, in the same fashion that foster homes exist as a safety net. It should not be considered the standard. It could be considered maybe a last resort. Ray is the final word on this matter on today's show, and I can't wait to hear what he has to say about it. Hey, Ray, how are you?
Hey, Mr. Matt. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, man.
First of all, yes, I am for it. I wish it went further. I think these people, the single father like me, that should be able to use it for homeschooling. And I know they're saying that homeschoolers saying they don't want to use it, blah, 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 but there should be some way that folks like me that may want to use it, okay? The previous caller, before the lady, said that, well, it'll probably only help the ones that are already in private school. Okay, so be it. They deserve to get the money. I hope it helps more. And the way to make public schools better is competition. When they see these private schools or homeschools or whatever else fixing education and sending out wonderful students, and they're losing, kids out of their schools because of it, they'll have to fix it. And I think you fix it all by getting rid of the teachers union. So there, I'm done.
Thank you so much, Ray. I love it. And that's a great way to put a capper on the calls for today on this matter. So we started at 1 o'clock. I was only able to get to, I think this is pretty good. I got to 17 calls in the span of an hour and 10 minutes. And out of those 17 calls, 10 were for the scholarship fund legislation, 7 against the scholarship fund legislation, and so many of you responding online. For example, and these are just a few of the examples. I'm going to have to count all of these up at some point. School voucher, no. When I looked into this legislation, saw that only 20,000 student school vouchers and increases by 2% annually, and lower income gets priority. Yet another case of wealth transfer. Pro school choice, writes 0610. 4504 says solve the whole problem by repealing the Compulsory Education Act. 7670, I'm a no on this voucher bill, and I'm a public school teacher. This will come back to bite them in the butt. It's a no for me, writes 3290, and on and on and on it goes. I can't possibly do justice to the numbers that I'm looking at here. We'll try to tabulate this up and give you a final result before the end of the show. A lot of math will be going on during this time out. It's 2:19 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Defense Systems is a life safety and security consultation firm based right here in Middle Tennessee. Their expertise lies in their experience for almost 2 decades. Brink Fiddler, the owner of Defense Systems, was a member of the Metro Nashville Police Department. He began to understand how to get into things. He understood the way that criminals thought, and he knows that if you have a place that people gather, be it a church, a school, or a place of business, he can help fortify that church, school, place of business, or place where people gather. He can help you understand how to respond to the possibility of workplace violence, active shooter, security improvement and consultation, emergency and intruder action plans. He can train your employees with regard to rapid response medical training, and all of it is customized to your specifications and to your facility. It's what he does, simply put, and they are great at what they do. Defense Systems oftentimes makes appearances on our radio show. You hear Brink from time to time. They are all about trying to mitigate and understand these active violent events that we see happening in our dangerously developing world and help understanding how to respond to them in the unlikely event that they happen to you. The chances are very, very minuscule that something like this will happen to you, but they're not zero. That means hope is not a plan. It is time to get trained. Defense Systems is the place to give that training. 615-236-6484, 236-6484 for Brink Fiddler and Defense Systems.
An update on the Israel-Hamas war and transgender sports in Tennessee. 2:30 Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Mr. Mac Morey. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Mac, you and I need to schedule a trip at a moment or a time or a day of your choosing. Belle, you're invited too, although I seriously doubt you'll go with us because you have to get home to your emotional support Cobra and your 2 kittens.
I take things with a serious grain of salt when I take responsibility for my pets.
We need to schedule an investigatory trip to Chiefs Bar.
If it wasn't for people like Scott Sapicki, I could have brought Spicy with me, and then there would be no reason for me to have to worry about whether or not I could go to the Chiefs.
I've told you 100 times, Belle, they do not identify cobras or snakes broadly in any category that I can see in that legislation against emotional support animal. And they carve out an exception for fish, so I don't know. But one way or the other, here's what I propose, man. The 3 of us get off our high horse, get down there to Lower Broad, investigate the situation involving Chiefs, see where the chair landed, take some photos, go up there, see where it was launched from. I'm going to go ahead and cover the cost of this trip, and I'll expense the radio station. How about that?
Absolutely. It's purely educational.
We'll see if we can duplicate the chair toss.
It's job-based. That's right. Or see, what a human being, a human being being in the... I started to make a let's throw Mac over the side joke.
I knew that's where this was going.
I stopped myself.
We need to try to find out how many drinks Morgan had so we can see if we can match that and get an idea of.
Somehow I doubt that. I've been trying a measure of temperance lately.
He hasn't.
He
does not do
He
that.
is most certainly not. Have you seen some of the photos of him in the back of the police car screaming? He looks weird.
Well, then he's got
I don't know, drunk.
He's got that cheesy grin on his face in his mugshot.
Yeah, poop-eating grin.
Morgan,
my grandpa would
I
call
love
it.
you, but sometimes you do stupid stuff. So.
I mean, I'm not a hater on the guy. I don't know any of his music, so I can't say that I like or hate or I'm a hater or a lover. One way or the other. At some point, you need to act like a grown man and stop doing stupid crap.
100%. Yeah, because that was just childish, juvenile delinquency behavior.
Look,
what's he doing screaming in this car?
I mean,
seeing this picture.
Oh yeah, no.
Don't you know who I am?
Oh yeah, I don't know what he's doing.
Shut up.
He went from that to smiling at people who were passing by. It's just weird. Just weird. At some point, you need to let them drop, be a man, and stop with the childish things. How about that? And look,
especially if that childish thing could possibly get somebody killed.
Has he made a statement?
I don't know that he has. No,
I have not seen one.
I think it was recorded on somebody's Ring video camera.
Someone. I think someone on his team, like some attorney on Team Wallen, made a statement, but he has not come out and said anything directly or publicly. So we're all waiting on that. Here's what I hope: that the dude gets whatever help he needs. I don't know what help he needs, but whatever help he needs to make sure this doesn't happen again. And this becomes the wake-up call that we can all look back on and say, boy, oh boy, he manned up and he was good to go after that. Now, that doesn't mean you can't have fun. I'm all for it. Let's go. Let's go to Chiefs. Let's have a good time. Let's meet up with Morgan Wallen. Let's have some fun. Let's not endanger the lives of other people. Once again, I'm not casting aspersions because I've been there, done that. And I learned my lessons way back in my college days. And I thank God, A, that there were no cameras. B, I thank God that I didn't hurt anybody when I was doing a lot of stupid things when I was 20 or 21 or 22 years old. This guy's 30, man. Come on. If you've not seen the video, the isolation of the chair going over is pretty funny.
I saw him play the rooftop of the BMI building in front of like 300 people a couple of years ago.
Oh, wow.
And now he's playing stadiums, and I could be completely wrong. This just reeks of somebody who's having trouble dealing with that level of success coming that fast.
Yeah, but it's been when was he on The Voice? Wasn't it like 2016, 2017? I hear you, but it's been like 6 years.
Dude, he's a stadium level act now, and I don't think,
I don't understand what that does to your ego. I think it's difficult to understand what that does to your ego. That you have that many people just eating out of the palm of your hand, that you can do no wrong. In the meantime, I'm counting up votes, and I'll have a final tally for you in a couple of minutes. I think I can make this final tally happen during the Mac Maury newscast. I also have my opinion. I laugh a little bit because I don't think you're going to like it. Arizona has approved human composting. They're calling it the Grandpa in the Garden bill. And I don't have a single issue with this. And I don't know who would. Arizona has become the latest state in the nation to allow terramation, also known as human composting, as an alternative to traditional burial methods and cremation. I'll tell you a story in my hometown. The richest guy in our hometown of Thompson, Georgia, died. Guy by the name of Peter Knox, who I had the pleasure of meeting. He was in his 90s, and I was like 12 years old. My granddad knew him. He was worth millions and millions and millions of dollars, and he wanted to be buried in a pine box without any chemicals. He didn't want anybody to do anything to his body. He wanted to be buried in a pine box and put in the ground to decompose. And the state of Georgia had a problem with that. Oh, a big problem with that. More on that story in just a moment. Plus the final tally and your calls, 615-737-9986. It's 2:30 on Super Talk.
"30 minutes after the hour of 2 o'clock, I'm Mac Maury with your top stories. Currently 63 degrees, a cloudy day in Nashville, expecting some showers later on this afternoon into the evening. Weather forecast on the way in 2 minutes. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said that a date has been set for his forces to go into Rafah, even as the U.S. warns against that and urges more cooperation to protect civilians. U.S. officials say they aren't aware of the date, but are still having active conversations about alternate plans to fight Hamas in that area of Gaza. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan at the White House press briefing today.
We have been very clear about our deep and abiding concerns about a Rafah operation and our belief that there are better ways to deal with the strategic threat Hamas poses than some of the ideas that have been put forward, and our further belief that any kind of plan to protect civilians in a serious way in Rafah, that's something we have yet to see be presented to us, and so our concerns continue.
Here in Tennessee, there are 3 colleges in the state that'll have to ban transgender students from competing in women's sports. News Channel 5 says Fisk, Cumberland University in Lebanon, and UT Southern in Pulaski are part of the NAIA, which voted unanimously yesterday to adopt the policy. The president of the NAIA says the reason for the policy is to create fairness and competition. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Mac Maury, WTN News.
Hey, friends, Matt Murphy. USS stands for United Structural Systems, and they stand for a good, solid foundation for you and your home, and by extension, your family. Let's discuss. USS, they keep homes stable and dry. It's what they do. Now, they also do the poly-level lift system, which is concrete leveling, which is pretty cool in and of itself. It is an incredible technique with the use of expandable foam where it's less expensive than concrete replacement, higher load capacities than traditional approaches. It's pretty amazing. See more about that at USSTN.com. But if you have foundation issues, if you have musty or moldy smells in your basement or your crawl space, you need to call USS. They are the best and have been for the last 30 years. You need peace of mind, and over 25,000 satisfied customers have been 100% satisfied with USS. They're not here to upsell you. They are here to take care of what ails your house and get it back right again. Homeowners simply trust USS. Serving Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky, USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com. Call 615-488-7855, 488-7855 for USSTN.com. Hey, friends, it's Pat Murphy. I want to tell you about Pat Davis and Your Health Plan. Man, you know, it is sad but true that a lot of people believe that if it's not, quote-unquote, open enrollment, that you can't do anything about your health coverage. That's not the case. At Your Health Plan, man, I want to talk to you about how you can make that switch. If you're uninsured currently, obviously, if you are unsatisfied with your current coverage, if you're looking for better or different, it's time to call your concierge when it comes to health care, Your Health Plan Man. Call Your Health Plan Man at 855-4-PLAN-MAN, 855-4-PLAN-MAN. Once again, 855-475-2662. Their team of experts will help you. They can shop every single health insurance coverage available, and they'll find the right one for you. Their Freedom of Choice plan allows you to pick your doctor, and it's 30 to 60% lower cost than Obamacare. The monthly premiums are independent of your income, so there'll be no surprise tax bill. Friends, it is simply the best way to manage your health coverage by you. You manage your health care, not the government, not anyone else, you. Along with Pat Davis, you can make this change. Go to yourhealthplanman.com. That's yourhealthplanman.com. Tell them I sent you. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy and you. I am almost done tallying the votes. It's a pretty fair contest right now. Pretty fair contest. You can always join us at the Members Nutrition Super Text line, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. You're invited to be a part of it. I tried to stay out of the way. I think I did pretty good, Bill. I think I did pretty good.
Yeah.
Staying out of the way.
Yeah.
I had that one slight interaction with Robert. He was, y'all of you folks at WTN. Okay.
And then, of course, Robert speaks for the dead, so we got to give him the credit on that.
Well, and then there's this, 2323, right? And I hope you're listening, 2323, because I want to talk to you. Please read this whole message. Don't cut it off like you do your callers. I can't believe my ears as you took a call from a man named Robert today who was standing up for what he believes Phil Valentine would definitely have stood up for regarding taxes. Maybe you should review the record on Phil Valentine before you say you have no idea what he would say, because we all know what he would say. How dare you presume to know because you didn't listen to him day in and day out like his followers did. I've tolerated as much as I can listening to you be rude to people who call in, talking over them, belittling them. The arrogant, egotistical attitude that emits from your voice is barely tolerable. Phil Valentine had an art, a skill of talking over people and not being rude. He could control the conversation without putting people down or talking over them like you do. I'd be ashamed if I were you trying to take his place and act the way you do toward the callers. I've been a participant on this radio station for the last 8 years, calling in when I felt like it, but I stopped after one call to you. Pack your arrogance and ego and leave them at home, please.
Okay, first off, I'm sorry I wrote that. I was in a mood, and I'll never do it again.
To 2323, I thank you for your comments. I truly do appreciate them. I knew Phil. I didn't know him well. I met him on a number of occasions as we were at, talk radio functions together. He was a great man and an exceptional talk show host. I regret not getting to hear him more. I just simply couldn't. A lot of the years that he was on the airwaves on Super Talk, I was on in the afternoons. And then obviously I had a radio station to run in Birmingham, Alabama. And so I was more focused on that when I was in mornings as opposed to listening in Nashville. But I have had an opportunity. I don't presume to know where Phil would be on this issue. I would never presume to suggest that I would know more than you or any other listener that had the opportunity to be a part of the Phil Valentine family over those many years. All I know is where I'm at on it, and I know that we live in America. And I thank God every single day that we get up in a country where we can have a difference of opinion and continue on, and we have the freedom to express ourselves on radio programs like this one. And I feel blessed. I know that I'm an egomaniac. I know that I'm an arrogant ass. Trust me. I know. But I know this too, that I am absolutely blessed with what I get to do every day. I do not know what I would do with myself if I did not have this opportunity every day. I am so sorry that I've annoyed you so much. At the same time, the worst possible thing that I could do for my career and for the honesty and integrity of this radio show is to try to be somebody I'm not. Am I arrogant when I think I'm right and somebody else is wrong? I don't know that I would say I'm arrogant. I'm not conceited. I'm just convinced. And I want you to be right too. And if you have a difference of opinion with me and I think I'm right, well then obviously I think by extension you're wrong. So all that to say, thank you. I appreciate the opinion. I appreciate your thoughts on the matter, and I hope that you're able to listen as much as you possibly can. And I apologize for the typos in my message that I sent back to you. Brian is next in the borough. Hey, Brian, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful, sir. How
Good,
are you
man.
today?
I'm great. Thank you for calling.
Awesome. And I have been dying to do this now forever and ever. But Murphy was right. Murphy was right. Murphy was right.
Right. Murphy was right. Murphy was right. I don't know about what, but I'm right. What the heck am I right about, Brian?
Just everything that you say. I listen to you every single day. I mean, I have ever since you came to the station. So I've been listening to 99.7 WTN every day for, I don't know, years and years. So, yeah, I mean, I've gone through the entire lot of everybody that has been there. So, yeah, I mean, I've even got my wife listening to y'all now. So, yeah, it's good. It's good. I mean, she's more informed now than she has ever been in her entire life. So, anyhow, I just wanted to call and just chime in just for a bit, just kind of talk about one of the things you talked about in the last segment, which is about the food stamp cards. I actually had to go on. I actually had to go on them about 18 years ago, and it it took me 3 months to actually be able to get back up and bounce back onto my feet. And then it took me another 2 months after I called them and said, I don't need this anymore. Don't keep me on this. Send it to somebody that actually needs it. And it took me, I mean, multiple phone calls and, you know, I mean, all kinds of stuff just to be able to get off of it. So I don't know. It's like you said, it's designed to be a hand up, not a hand out.
Well, and part of it, and you know, and I promised during the course of what we were doing with regard to the school scholarship fund that I wouldn't offer my opinion, but you know, we lost our way when it came to food stamps a long time ago too. My mother was eligible for food stamps, and my grandfather put a stop to it. My mother was eligible because of her brain cancer diagnosis and subsequent surgery, and the fact that we had 3 kids in the house. But the design of, and thank you, Brian, for the call. I so do appreciate you. I mean, the design of the food stamp program was to be a temporary safety net to prevent children from going hungry. And sadly, for some, it became a supplemental program that turned into an expectation. It became a budgeted amount of money for a lot of families because of a lack of governmental accountability and a lack of an ability for the government to cut people off and say, no, at some point you have to, able-bodied folks have to do for themselves. I fear we've gotten to the point where we look at public education as the end-all, be-all, or the standard, and it's not. And families who have an ability to send their kids to private school, God bless you, I appreciate you, and I understand you. You're going above and beyond. You're double paying for your child's education. You pay through your tax dollars to go to public schools, and then you pay out of the nose to send your kids to private school. Why? Because you understand that you want the best possible educational opportunities for your kids, regardless of what it costs. Well, some don't have that ability. And we in our country have, for whatever reason, decided that we default to public education. We default to government-run schools. Government-run schools. Does government run anything properly? I mean, the only reason our military is what it is, or at least has been what it has been, I would suggest, is because the fine men and women that are the ground roots of it, the foundation of it, and the fact that they have unlimited money, which is of a great benefit to our United States military. They are a monetary sacred cow, and as such, we can just spend money ad nauseum to fund what is ultimately the greatest military on God's green earth. But we don't have unlimited money to throw at education. We really don't have unlimited money to fund the military either, but that's another subject for another moment. Yet we have this in our heads. I'm not saying you, I'm not saying you or you or you or you or maybe even me, but just talking broadly in the royal we, if you will. We have this concept that the government education is the standard. Government doesn't run anything efficiently, and it certainly has not done a very good job of educating your children on the whole. I'm in favor of anything that gives more opportunities for the private sector to do what government does not so well. Now, as promised, House Bill 2081 in Arizona, Senate Bill 1042 is referred to the Grandpa in the Garden bill. It was signed into law by Governor Katie Hobbs March 29th and gives accredited funeral providers the ability to offer a service called terramation. It has grown in popularity over the years. As the Tucson Sentinel reports, terramation is currently only legal in Washington, Oregon, California, Colorado, New York, Vermont, and Nevada. Other states are in the process of changing laws. It's all about choice, says the natural organic reduction of Arizona lobbyist Jake Hinman. We need to get Jake on the show, Bell. If the process doesn't make sense to you, he said, there are other options out there for your loved ones. But for those that this does make sense for, we just want this to be an option for Arizonans. It's as simple as that. The process begins by lining a vessel with organic material such as straw and or wood chips. The body is placed inside and covered with a compostable blanket along with more organic material. After that, the vessel is sealed and allowed to sit for up to 2 months. By then, the body has fully decomposed and turned into soil, which is then given to the family of the deceased. Isn't this the same thing as scattering someone's ashes?
No, it's how you get there.
What do you mean?
Different. It's how you get there that's different. One's burning them up to a crisp, and
yeah,
the
but
other
it's the same result.
Well, when you get to the ashes point, it is. But how you get there is
ashes, soil, ashes to ashes, dust, soil to dust.
What was this guy's name? Jake Miller?
This guy's Jake Hinman.
Hinman.
Or Heinman. Hinman. There's something in us that wants to return to the earth, said Terramation. I'm all in favor of this. This is better than graveyards. I mean, George Carlin does a great bit about this. When did we come up with this concept of cities of the dead? We came up with the concept of cities of the dead for one reason, to protect the living from the decomposition of the dead. We now don't have that problem anymore. We got some great property out there. And I know people are looking at me like, what are you talking about, Murphy? No, I mean, the human body's just a vessel. Your soul, your spirit's gone, long gone. Let's return the vessel to the earth. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
It's a process you got to go through anyway to get to Soylent Green.
I'm all for it. Soylent Green is people, Bell. I don't want spoiler alert.
Oh, you just ruined the mood.
And
there are
Soylent
people
Green,
out there that didn't need that.
By every account, Charleston Heston thought that Soylent Green tasted better than Soylent Yellow and was more abundant.
Yeah.
50 after the hour. Super Talk. I don't think he wants to, but Brian Wilson's going to talk to us next on Super Talk. Checking in with Brian Wilson in just a moment. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Just a quick note, General Assembly, there's a little bit of chaos going on the Senate floor. Apparently, moms demand action had to be thrown out of the balcony today, protesting a bill that would allow teachers to carry firearms if they have appropriate training, if they obviously agree to doing so, and they go through the training protocols as set forth by the bill. Apparently, moms demand action. We're against this measure. I'm a little bit confused why they would be against this, as they're not against SROs, but apparently they are. Just want to note to you that we're monitoring that, eyeballing it, and obviously anything coming out of that will be available for you from the newsroom or from the drive with Brian Wilson, who joins us right now to talk about his big adventure from yesterday. Hey, Brian.
Well, actually, let me do this, because I have been watching what's happening in the Senate.
Oh, you're watching it?
They were in the gallery, and then they started shouting. And the state troopers came and escorted them from the gallery.
Huh. What are they yelling? Throw them out?
Throw them out, yeah. They're not happy, apparently, with this bill. That's the first thing I'm going to be talking about. And then I will talk a little bit about the experience yesterday. What an interesting day it was, going all the way up to Indiana. I drove 4 hours for 4 minutes of totality. And then people said, we really need to challenge your sanity over that, Brian. I mean, is that the right thing? Really, 4 hours of driving just for 4 minutes? Well, that's what I did. And I'll talk about that.
I absolutely love it. I love it. It proves that, look, our differences are what makes the world go round. Would I have done it? I don't think so. But I am so glad that you did, and I'm so glad to listen to some of the response or your reaction to what you saw a little bit later on in the drive. So there's Brian Wilson coming up, starting with that Senate brouhaha going on. That's right after Mac Morey's newscast on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Real quick, I got the final tally, 10, 20. All right, it's 38 to 27 is my final tally. 38 people for the scholarship fund, and 27 people against it. That's our informal poll. Brian Wilson in the drive coming up next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Have a great afternoon. Hug your loved ones. So long, everybody.